Counterinsurgency support in Latin America. In a region long shaped by political turmoil, drug wars, and Cold War-era interventions, Latin America has often served as a quiet battlefield for global interests. While official U.S. military involvement in the region faced growing political resistance, a new model of intervention emerged: outsourced, discreet, and far more flexible. Enter Blackwater, the private military powerhouse that had already made its mark in the Middle East. According to multiple reports and intelligence leaks, Blackwater was quietly contracted to provide counterinsurgency support across parts of Latin America. Though unconfirmed in the official record, credible sources allege that Blackwater operatives were deployed in various countries under a veil of secrecy, working alongside local security forces and intelligence agencies. Their objective: to suppress insurgent groups, drug cartels, and radical militias that threatened U.S. interests or regional stability. Colombia, with its decades-long civil conflict against FARC rebels, was one such hotspot. There, Blackwater reportedly helped train government forces in advanced jungle warfare tactics, surveillance operations, and counter-IED techniques. The contractors were said to have brought with them knowledge forged in Iraq and Afghanistan, adapting it to dense rainforests and mountain ranges where guerrillas thrived. In Mexico, where drug cartels had become militarized and cities turned into war zones, Blackwater was rumored to have supported DEA-led missions, offering intelligence analysis and operational planning. Some reports even suggest that contractors participated in raids targeting cartel leaders, although such involvement remains cloaked in layers of plausible deniability. Elsewhere in Central America, Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, Blackwater's footprint was less obvious but possibly even more strategic. These nations, plagued by violent gangs like MS-13 and overwhelmed by institutional corruption, became testing grounds for private security solutions. Contractors allegedly trained elite units, advised on counter-gang strategies, and helped monitor key smuggling corridors linked to weapons, drugs, and human trafficking. What made these operations controversial wasn't just their secrecy, it was their implications. By outsourcing counterinsurgency, the U.S. bypassed diplomatic roadblocks, avoided public scrutiny, and gained access to tools that would be politically toxic if deployed directly by American troops. For the host nations, Blackwater offered high-level expertise without the baggage of foreign military presence. But that same discretion came at a cost. Oversight was minimal, accountability scarce, and motives often questioned. Critics warned that deploying private forces in fragile democracies risked destabilizing local governance. Were these missions supporting law and order, or bolstering regimes willing to look the other way as long as the violence was directed at the right targets? In some cases, questions were raised about civilian casualties, abuse of power, and the use of torture in facilities supported by foreign contractors. Despite the controversies, Blackwater's presence in Latin America underscored a larger trend: the privatization of military influence. These missions were not loud. They weren't front-page news. They were designed to be invisible, operating under commercial contracts, diplomatic cover, and layers of legal ambiguity. Yet the impact was very real. Cartels lost territory. Rebel groups suffered leadership decapitations. Insurgency hot zones cooled, temporarily. And Blackwater, true to its form, faded back into the shadows, its role deniable, its presence unofficial, its influence undeniable. In the history of Latin America's internal wars, the fingerprints of foreign intervention are everywhere. But in the 21st century, those fingerprints belong not just to governments, but to private armies whose names are never spoken, whose logos are never seen, and whose missions are buried deep beneath the surface.